The 1971 United States quarter dollar history, context, and significance. The quarter dollar coin, commonly referred to simply as the quarter, has long been one of the most recognizable and widely circulated coins in the United States. Among its many issues, the 1971 quarter holds particular historical importance, not because of a dramatic design change, but because of the broader transformation of American coinage during that era. To understand the significance of the 1971 quarter, one must examine its origins, design, production, and the economic and historical context in which it was minted. Origins of the United States quarter. The history of the quarter dollar dates back to the late 18th century, shortly after the founding of the United States. The Coinage Act of 1792 established the U.S. Mint and authorized the production of several denominations, including the quarter dollar. Early quarters were made of silver and featured various designs over the decades, reflecting the artistic and political changes of the nation. The modern quarter design, however, traces its roots to 1932. That year marked the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, and the United States Mint introduced a new coin bearing his likeness. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the Washington quarter replaced the Standing Liberty design and became one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. The Washington quarter design. The Washington quarter, including the 1971 issue, features a portrait of George Washington on the obverse, front. The profile is based on a bust created by French sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon in 1786. Washington is depicted facing left, with the word liberty above his head and the phrase, "In God we trust," to the left. The date appears at the bottom. The reverse back of the coin displays an eagle with outstretched wings, perched on a bundle of arrows and framed by olive branches. This imagery symbolizes strength and peace, key themes in American iconography. The inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum appear above the eagle, while the denomination quarter dollar is below. Transition from silver to clad coinage. One of the most important developments affecting the 1971 quarter occurred just a few years earlier. Until 1964, U.S. quarters were composed of 90% silver. However, rising silver prices in the early 1960s led to widespread hoarding and shortages of circulating coins. In response, the U.S. government passed the Coinage Act of 1965, which eliminated silver from circulating dimes and quarters. Beginning in 1965, quarters were produced using a clad composition, a sandwich of copper and nickel. This new structure consisted of a pure copper core bonded between two outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy. By 1971, this clad composition had become standard, and the quarter was firmly established as a base metal coin rather than a precious metal one. This shift marked a fundamental change in American coinage and reflected broader economic pressures. The 1971 quarter production and minting. The 1971 quarter was minted at multiple facilities operated by the United States Mint. The primary mints producing quarters at that time were Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark; Denver Mint, marked with a D; San Francisco Mint, primarily proof coins. The Philadelphia Mint produced the majority of circulation coins, while the Denver Mint supplemented production to meet national demand. Proof coins, which are specially struck for collectors using polished dies and planchets, were produced at the San Francisco Mint and bear the S Mint mark. Production numbers for the 1971 quarter were substantial, reflecting the growing U.S. population and increased reliance on coin-based transactions. Hundreds of millions of quarters were struck, ensuring that they became a common feature in everyday commerce. Design continuity and stability. Unlike some other years, 1971 did not introduce a new design for the quarter. The Washington quarter design had remained largely unchanged since its introduction in 1932, aside from minor modifications in lettering and detail. This continuity contributed to the coin's recognizability and public acceptance. By 1971, the Washington quarter had become an enduring symbol of American currency, familiar to citizens across the country. Economic context of the early 1970s. The early 1970s were a period of significant economic change in the United States. Inflation was beginning to rise, and the country was transitioning away from the gold standard. In 1971, President Richard Nixon announced the suspension of dollar convertibility into gold, a move often referred to as the Nixon shock. This decision marked the end of the Bretton Woods system and ushered in a new era of fiat currency. Although this policy shift did not directly alter the design of the quarter, it underscored the broader transformation of American money, from coins with intrinsic metal value to those backed solely by government authority. The clad composition of the 1971 quarter reflects this transition. Unlike earlier silver coins, its value derived entirely from its status as legal tender rather than the worth of its metal content. Collectability of the 1971 quarter. While the 1971 quarter is not considered rare, it holds interest for collectors, particularly those focused on Washington quarters or modern U.S. coinage. Several factors influence the collectability of these coins. 1. Condition. Coins in uncirculated condition, meaning they show no signs of wear, are more valuable than those found in everyday circulation. High-grade examples with sharp details and original luster are especially sought after. 2. Proof coins. Proof versions of the 1971 quarter produced at the San Francisco Mint are prized for their mirror-like finish and sharp detail. These coins were sold in proof sets and are popular among collectors. 3. Mint marks. Collectors often seek coins from different mints, including Philadelphia, no mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. Completing a set with all mint variations is a common goal. 4. Errors and varieties. Like many coins, some 1971 quarters exhibit minting errors, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or planchette flaws. These errors can significantly increase a coin's value. Cultural and historical significance. Although the 1971 quarter may appear ordinary, it represents an important moment in U.S. history. It embodies the shift from precious metal coinage to modern clad currency and reflects the economic realities of the time. The coin also serves as a link between generations. Millions of Americans handled 1971 quarters in daily transactions, from vending machines to grocery stores. As such, the coin is part of the shared material culture of the era. The coin also serves as a link between generations. Millions of Americans handled 1971 quarters in daily transactions, from vending machines to grocery stores. As such, the coin is part of the shared material culture of the era. Comparison with earlier and later quarters. To fully appreciate the 1971 quarter, it is helpful to compare it with earlier and later issues. Earlier quarters, pre-1965, composed of 90% silver. Higher intrinsic value. More likely to be hoarded or collected. 1971 quarter. Clad composition. Copper nickel. Widely circulated. Represents economic transition. Later quarters. In subsequent decades, the quarter would undergo several design changes, including commemorative series such as the 50 State Quarters program introduced in 1999. These later coins featured rotating reverse designs celebrating individual states and territories. Despite these changes, the obverse portrait of George Washington remained largely consistent, maintaining continuity with earlier issues like the 1971 quarter. The role of the quarter in American life. The quarter has long been one of the most useful denominations in U.S. currency. Its value makes it suitable for a wide range of transactions, from small purchases to machine-operated services. In 1971, quarters were essential for public telephones. parking meters, laundry machines, vending machines. The widespread use of quarters contributed to their high production numbers and ensured their presence in everyday life. Numismatic perspective. From a numismatic standpoint, the 1971 quarter is part of the broader category of modern coins. While it may lack the rarity or intrinsic value of older silver coins, it offers insight into the evolution of U.S. currency. Collectors often include 1971 quarters in date and mint sets, Washington quarter collections, clad coinage studies. The coin's affordability makes it accessible to beginner collectors, while its historical context provides depth for more advanced numismatists. Preservation and storage. For collectors interested in preserving 1971 quarters, proper storage is essential. Coins should be kept in a dry, stable environment to prevent corrosion or damage. Common storage methods include coin holders, albums, and protective cases. Handling should be minimized, and coins should be held by the edges to avoid fingerprints or oils that could affect their surface. Legacy of the 1971 quarter. The legacy of the 1971 quarter lies not in rarity or dramatic design, but in its representation of a pivotal era. It stands as a tangible reminder of the economic and cultural shifts of the early 1970s. As part of the Washington Quarter series, it contributes to one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. Its continued presence in collections and circulation highlights its enduring relevance. Conclusion. The 1971 United States quarter dollar is more than just a piece of currency. It is a historical artifact that reflects a transformative period in American history. From its origins in the Washington quarter design to its production during a time of economic change, the coin embodies the evolution of U.S. money. Its clad composition marks the departure from silver coinage, while its widespread circulation underscores its role in everyday life. For collectors and historians alike, the 1971 quarter offers valuable insights into the intersection of economics, design, and culture. Though often overlooked, this coin remains an important part of the American numismatic landscape, a small but significant piece of the nation's history.